For this particular demo, I'm going to use the set of brushes. It has a fan brush, 2 sizes of mop brushes, what's called a Deerfoot brush, and a flat brush. In the back there's a little illustration of each of those, the kind of marks that you might be able to with them. We're going to start by experimenting with the actual brushes and paints. I'm going to use this Yarka set. I try not to use the brand in watercolors, and I really work to mix there my chromatic black colors. Here are samples of each of those. It's like you can red, a cool and a warm red, and then the greens, like more of a blue green, neutrally theoretically might be cool green, and the warm green. Really find that I use this more frequently. Alright, here are all the brushes that were in that set, and I have it labeled over on this side. So fan brush, large mop, medium mop, 3/8 inch Deerfoot, and 3/8 inch flat brush. So we're going to experiment with a kind of a stronger color, so pick something like the reds, the greens, the blues, the purples, just not the yellows, and then again, not the browns or the blacks. I typically do my mixing in the lid of the watercolor container, but for the camera purposes, so you can see what I'm doing, I got a white palette because the lid is clear and it wouldn't show up as well as it does in this. So you can use any sort of plastic surface, the lid, little palette for mixing your colors, and you can see that these colors were already shiny. I took a spray bottle and I just mist my colors to activate them all, and that allows me to do that without the colors getting mixed when I'm adding water with a brush and I keep having to cross between them. I'm going to start off with blue, and I'm going to use my medium mop brush. So mop meaning that it's kind of a watercolor brush, it's soft, it's fluffy, it should hold a decent amount of water. So if I put water on here and it starts to drip, that was a drop, that was a drop, and get a few drops out of it. Whereas with the flat brush, it's more of an all-purpose brush, and I'm not going to be able to get much water out of that one. So I'm going to grab some blue, put it in here, and just to get used to the idea of mixing colors and not using them straight out of the container, I am going to add a tiny bit of another color just to change it a little bit. Add in some violet. So I've got this blue-violet color now, and let's experiment with the different brushes. Start off with my fan brush. Maybe I'll even be a little experimental with the colors on that. Maybe I'll grab a little bit of yellow on one side of it, and then I'll dip the rest of it in the blue. I'm going to wipe off the extra. I'll do it in another container so I don't start changing that color really too much. And let's see what it does. Ooh. Whoops. We'll get back there. No. Alright, back to the right colors. So for a fan brush, I can get really thick, wide marks, or I can do thin marks. But just that you get the idea that the fan brush does a lot. I'm going to just flip this over real quick on the back and just show you can even create some really beautiful arches. So the fan brush is definitely a fun one to play with. Alright, get any extra water off of there and flip it back. Large mop brush, I am going to dip this in here, but a mop brush, just like a mop for a floor, it holds a lot of water. So just touching that to there, I can see how like there's so much water that's going to be held by that brush. The medium mop brush, smaller, holds a decent amount of water, but I can control that a little bit more. This Deerfoot brush, you can hear it. It's just got more of a rougher texture to it. So this is great for adding small little details on the top, or kind of like a scribbling, scumbling texture. So that's the Deerfoot brush. I could also flip it over and try to do some thinner lines with the point. And then for the flat brush, wiping off the extra water. Try it sideways with a wide line, but then see how thin. You can go with that. I'm trying to avoid this column because I'm going to do some different techniques in there. So feel free to experiment more on another piece of paper. This is just a quick little reference. So as we're doing all different techniques in this area, you have the reminder of what each brush kind of looks like just in its most basic form. And it's certainly not the end or the limit of what you can do with each brush, but it's just a little reference for you as you're working on the rest of the sheet.